So we're here at SilverStone's booth with Tony.
Hello.
So Tony, I see many new power supply units.
Mm-hmm.
Can you tell us something about each of them or the major models?
So we're the leader in SFX power supplies. So here we have some of the production one and also pre-production ones.
Yeah.
So starting with SX300. So this will be our most entry-level SFX power supply. So one of the things that we did differently now is to include these non-sleeved, all black cables. So they look good and they're easy to cable manage.
Yeah.
So this is very important in small form factor cases and builds. This is a prototype, so we have the old style sleeving. So these don't really help.
It's
cable
tough
management and make it thicker and less manageable. So we'll be moving our future SFX to these type of cable. I think this will really improve cable management in small form factors. The rest of the power supply is pretty standard. They're good price, and especially right now the tariff in the U.S. Anything that's really low wattage, they're getting tariff.
Yeah.
Anything higher, they're exempt for the moment.
It's exempt. Okay.
So we're going to be also releasing a 500 watt version. We have a 450, so that's kind of like a first show. So we're going to move that up to a 500 watt to make sure that we can get exempt as well. So the price will be lower.
Do you know the OEM and this?
So these will be from China Well, I believe.
WD.
Yeah.
Okay. And I see some high capacity ones.
So the high capacity one, this is shipping already. The SX700 with 80 plus platinum. Which you guys, did you have one? This one?
I think 100. Yeah.
You have this one, right?
Yeah.
So this one is shipping. This one is coming this quarter.
SX750.
Yeah, 50 watt bump.
Yeah.
So they're from actually two different OEMs.
The OEM of this, I don't quite remember. It was high power.
Yeah.
High power. And this one?
Enhance.
Enhance. I see the heat sinks. Okay. This is impressive. 1,000.
So we showed this at Computex last year.
Yeah.
In the earlier prototype form. So this is closer to production as we're tuning it.
Enhance. Yeah. 1,000 watts in such a compact form factor. That's impressive.
Yeah. So we're very close to 1,000
watt per liter. Yeah. Okay.
For this one.
Essential. That's
it's an entry-level
affordable line. Yeah.
So this will be our first entry-level power supply to have fully modular cables.
Okay.
And this will also be the first SilverStone power supply to have a combo EPS and PCI Express connector.
They will be compatible, so you can
pick and choose whatever you need more.
Yeah.
So this type of need arises because of the popularity of the Ryzen Threadripper motherboards. They require two EPS connectors.
So they will have two EPS connectors, those power supply units.
So for this one, for example, we'll give you two sets of EPS cables plus enough for 4 PCI Express connectors. Yeah. But then you can't use all of them at the same time.
That makes sense.
But you can pick and choose.
Yeah.
So the problem with having dual EPS motherboards, they require, they require you to buy these really high wattage power supplies, like 850 watt or above. Otherwise, you don't get a dual EPS connectors.
Although I see many brands now moving to two EPS connectors.
Yeah.
At the time that I did the reviews and I was yelling, put two EPS connectors, they are telling me, hey, there's no need for two EPS connectors. But now everyone is listening to what I said years ago, and everybody's moving to two EPS connectors.
Because they see the need also for because the motherboards now they require.
The GPU power consumption is going low, while the CPU power consumption goes up. That's crazy. Okay.
So that's why we have the new connector. But we're not forgetting about the older SilverStone power supply users. So if you have a SilverStone power supply right now, and you like to have that flexibility as well, we're offering this new TP11 cable kit. So basically, it turns the PCI Express connector on the modular interface into an EPS.
Compatible to the. That's nice.
And vice versa.
And how much this costs? This kit?
So $10.
$10. Okay.
So it's easy for you to add more EPS cable or PCI Express.
That's good of you to think of the previous owners.
Yeah. It's very important we take care of all of our customers.
This is affordable and RGB lighting, right?
Yes. So we're doing in reverse. So we showed this off also in at Computex in a different design.
Yeah.
So now this is a more like a little bit even more flashy. Before it was just like a regular power supply with the
fan gate, yeah.
So now we have a more flashy design as well to match the lighting.
Okay. That's a high-end line.
Yeah. DA.
Compact dimensions.
Yes. 140 millimeter.
Yeah, that's very compact.
Yeah.
And the monster here.
Yeah. 1650
watts.
Yeah.
That must be your strongest power supply unit.
Yes,
right?
when it comes out. Yeah.
And OEM behind this.
There's two competing.
This is by Sony, right?
Yes.
Okay. The new Niger 700 watts capacity.
So we've been selling fanless power supply for the longest
When
time.
this will be available?
Should be first half of this year.
Okay, I would like to give it a go.
Okay,
review.
yeah.
Yeah, that's interesting.
Yeah, so we have a lot of experience with fanless power supply, so does Seasonic.
And those are TFX units.
700 watt TFX.
700 watts.
Yes.
Yeah, that's.
Yeah.
Oh,
If you
that's
build
all.
it, then we can make new case design and utilize this, just like we do with the SFX.
And server units.
2U redundant. So we now have up to 1000 watt plus 1000 watt redundant on this size.
Okay. And some AC adapters here.
Yeah. So these will be made for those smaller mini ITX chassis where they don't have room for an SFX. In fact, we have one here. So something like this would require a DC board plus an AC adapter. Okay, these look like ordinary extension cable, but handle one in your hand. It's the softest.
Yeah, it bends very, very easy.
Yeah. Nothing is like this before.
What is the material?
We use a different copper. So we didn't cheat by making the wire really thin,
okay.
right?
Will be sold as a kit, right?
Separately.
Yeah.
So you can buy the cable separately. You buy the 24-pin separate.
They must be expensive then.
A little bit more expensive than traditional cables of their kind, but like I said, if we split them up into each individual cable, we don't force you to buy like a whole kit.
You just buy the cables that you need.
So it's like maybe $15, $20 a piece.
$20 a bit. Wow, that's a hit.
My guess, maybe lower because the
It
regular
depends on the
cable.
cable. Yeah, this is more expensive.
Yeah, so these ones would be like maybe even less than 10.
Okay. What is this?
So this case is called the Alta F1.
Okay.
So for those at Computex last year we announced that we're going to condense 6 of our tower case series into just 3. So there'll be the Alta in the highest end, Setup in the middle high end, and the Farab in the entry level. So this is part of the
Flagship
series. And the F1, the F stands for Fortress.
Ah.
So if you remember the old Fortress cases, they're really cleanly styled on the outside with premium material on the outside, usually aluminum.
Yeah.
So this is what that case would be like. It's the successor to the Fortress case series.
It's very thick, I see.
Thick aluminum front panel, rear panel, bottom panel, also even the top cover. Usually when we have these rotated 90-degree models,
it will have a filter, fan filter here,
No,
or this will be
exhaust.
This is exhaust.
Yeah.
Okay.
So this is also aluminum.
It's removable.
So it's rotated 90-degree layout,
The big thing.
like from the Raven.
Yeah.
Previous Fortress cases. So the 2 black plastic buttons here on the back help you release the side panel. Press on it.
Yeah, that's easy.
Yeah.
It's space. Has a lot of space inside.
So you can see the fan mount on the bottom allows you to fit 3 120, 3 140, 2 180, or 2 200 millimeter fans. There's another set of fan mounts on top. So before the top cover was only to cover up the cables, but with this case, you can fit more fans, or even radiator. selective to not only cover up the cable but provide that push and pull effect for the entire case in terms of airflow. So the cooling performance should be excellent if you get the right certificates.
It must be expensive also, this case, right?
Yes, but if you look closely on detail on some of the inside components, you can see that they're taken from cases from other common parts.
Yeah.
So before the Fortress and Raven cases that we had before, they were always built from the ground up. So they're really expensive because of that. So with this, our goal is to make the case more affordable than before.
So
we use common parts.
So how much?
The last Fortress tower case, the FT05, launched at $180. And the more famous FT02 was $250. This case, we're aiming for around 150.
150? Okay, that sounds fair.
Yeah, but this is just a prototype. There's still a lot of changes that we may need to make. And also things like how many fans, how big of the fans we include, lighting effects, they will all add to different costs. So maybe your audience can give the feedback. Whether or not you like to see this case be released without anything,
or with RGB lighting and cooling
fans added. The SG14. So this name's been mentioned many times in previous trade shows in different iterations. So this must have been the 4th time that we're showing SG14 at the trade show. But this one, I believe, is finally finalized.
The final version.
Okay, so the previous SG14 cases, one of them eventually become the LVO3, or sometimes some of them were being scrapped because they're too big. And then when we showed that one last year at Computex, that one's maybe a little bit too small to fit some of the higher end components. So this is completely revamped as a result. So first of all, you can see the case is sized about 20 liters in size. So it's not quite a micro ATX size, but still it has room for 3 slots. So that means now the newer 2.5 slot cards you can fit inside this case. Also, you can see that the back side has room for 120 or 140 millimeter fan or radiator.
The thing is that I don't see a power switch here, which I don't like, right?
Okay.
Because you have an extension power cable.
Yes, over here
at
the top.
It needs a power switch because you practically disable the power switch of the PSU. For me,
that's true.
For me, I always want to see
that's
power
the way
switches
it is for these type of designs. So you can see
there's room for power switch. Okay, you can install it. It's not very high the cost, but
but it's adds complexity.
Indeed. It's another point of failure, right?
Yes. Okay, so continuing with the case features. So this case has a graphic card holder here on the bottom. You can adjust the width depending on how wide the graphics card is. Usually small cases like this, they get taken, they're more mobile, so cards tend to move around a bit more.
It can move,
So this will help hold that down. You can also see there's a mount for 2.5 inch drive here. And on this side, you see there's a drive cage. So that means it hides an opening here on the front. If I don't tell you, you probably can't notice it. It's a 5.25 inch drive bay for those of you that still wants
optical drive.
Or a hot swap bay.
Not many users, I believe.
In some countries.
Although in this type of SASs, somebody can use it as a media player. So it might come handy.
So we make sure the styling is integrated so that when you have this cover on, if you're not using that, you still look very clean. So if you're not using the drive, this cage can be taken out of the case so that this frame can support 2 120 or 140 millimeter fans or a 240 millimeter all-in-one liquid cooler.
On this side.
This frame. So that's a lot of cooling potentially. You have 240 here, 120, 140, and the power supply sits in the middle of the case. You can see here. And it goes in from the bottom. So this is the first time we ever did a layout like this. There's several benefits. let me grab the power supply. So the power supply goes in on the bottom of the chassis like this. Okay.
Yeah.
So the cables for the graphics card connected here. For the motherboard, goes out of this side
Yeah.
to the motherboard, all very short distance. And whatever excess cable you have, you just
can put
store
it, yeah,
underneath the
so-
power supply,
Yeah.
hidden away. Usually a lot of small form factor cases, they have the power supply sitting up high. So they're hanging, a lot of the cables are hanging over
Yeah.
you know, the path
That's
of the
a good
airflow
one.
or like this motherboard area. So
And
this
the-
is a much better solution.
And you can install the power supply with a cooling fan facing upwards, so you don't have a problem with semi-passive or passive operation units.
Oh yeah, that too. That's a good point.
Yeah.
So you can flip either side depending on.
Yeah, depending on the, if you don't have a semi-passive, you don't have a problem to flip it. Yeah.
Okay, so that's SG14.
SG40.